Damn it. The netherworld actually sent so many experts to protect the Yellow Spring holy water. Yi Xian tried to calm himself down. After a moment he said in a low voice, Jiming, can you feel where that expert is? Yi Jiming said, 100 zhang to the right. Yi Xian looked to the right. 100 zhang away there was nothing there. Yi Jiming said, he's hiding in the dark. Yi Xian fell silent. What should I do? If I touch the Yellow Spring holy water, I'm sure I'll be discovered. For a moment Yi Xian fell silent. Yi Xian was also silent. Yi Xian was in a dilemma. If he wanted to take the Yellow Spring holy water, he would definitely alarm the experts here. If he left now, Yi Xian would definitely be unwilling. It really wasn't easy for him to come here. At this time Yi Jiming suddenly said, I have to make a decision. Yi Xian looked at the Yellow Spring holy water. After a long silence he said, Jiming, can you help me avoid this formation? Yi Jiming was silent. Yi Xian smiled bitterly, I'm too unwilling to leave now. Yi Jiming said, give me some time. Yi Xian nodded. He looked at the Yellow Spring holy water in the distance, thinking about something. Roughly 15 minutes later Yi Jiming suddenly said, this is an ancient godly talisman array, specifically used to imprison people. If you were to disturb it, you'll be imprisoned immediately. However, if there's no energy fluctuation, it won't be activated. So, you only have one choice later, and that is to take the Yellow Spring holy water by force and immediately escape. But doing so will alarm the experts here. If you don't have a plan, you won't be able to take the Yellow Spring holy water away. Yi Xian nodded, I understand. With that, he slowly closed his eyes. Big sister, can I use the Tao of Space? Tao of Space. He didn't forget the Tao of Space in the pagoda. These Tao of Space were not just for show, they were just not used at the right time. It was worth mentioning that his greatest trump card was not the Tao scriptures or martial arts, but the World Prison Pagoda. His current body could already withstand most of the power of the World Prison Pagoda. Moments later, Big Sister's voice suddenly resounded in Yi Xian's mind. Although the space here is reinforced by the formation, there are no grand Tao laws. So, you can use the Tao of Space to forcefully move yourself and the Yellow Spring holy water away. However, I have to remind you that there are many experts here, and I'm afraid there are experts who can forcefully seal off space. Once such experts make a move, it will be very difficult for you to escape from the netherworld. Yi Xian nodded, I understand. With that he slowly walked towards the green bottle. There were at least 20 drops of Yellow Spring holy water in the bottle. 20 drops. This was a sacred item that the netherworld had accumulated for many years. Do you dare to kill our way out of the netherworld with me? If you do, then I might even give you some good fortune. The head fell silent for a few breaths of time before he spoke fiercely, damn it. Let's do it. As soon as he finished speaking, bang. A powerful aura suddenly burst forth from the battlefield. Chapter 13:19. The head in front of Yi Xian started to tremble violently, and it didn't take long for a body to actually grow out at a visible speed. At this moment, the old man holding a crutch at the bottom of the river suddenly appeared not far from Yi Xian. Yi Xian's eyelids twitched when he witnessed this scene, but his expression was very calm. The old man gazed at Yi Xian. How interesting. A self-release realm cultivator actually dared to come and steal the Yellow Spring's holy water. Yi Xian glanced at the old man and smiled without saying a word. His smile carried deep meaning. The old man frowned slightly when he witnessed this scene. Could it be that this fellow has something to rely on? As if he'd thought of something, he suddenly gazed at the man by Yi Xian's side. Wuxin, you're on his side. The man who'd just regrown his body roared with laughter. Imu-chun, I'm on the same side as this senior. Senior. The old man called Imu-chun gazed at Yi Xian, and his brows knit together slightly. You called him senior? Wuxin smiled. Imu-chun, it's not too late for you to flee now. Really? Imu-chun took a deep and long glance at Yi Xian. Who exactly are you? At this moment he felt quite fearful in his heart. Under normal circumstances, it was impossible for a self-release realm cultivator to come here. Moreover, he was clearly aware of Wuxin's strength, yet Wuxin had actually called this fellow senior. It wasn't simple at all. Meanwhile, Wuxin stretched his body, and then he gazed at Yi Xian and smiled. Senior, should I kill this fellow? Yi Xian glanced at Imu-chun. He isn't worthy of me making a move against him. Just kill him. Wuxin was stunned and then he smiled. All right. As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly turned around to gaze at Imu-chun, and then he smashed his fist forward. His fist smashed forward and a black fist swept forward. Wuxin's eyes narrowed slightly. He didn't dare act carelessly in the slightest, and he tapped his walking stick forward lightly. In an instant, a black shield appeared in front of him. Meanwhile, the fist smashed directly against the black shield. Bang! Along with an explosion, Emu Chun retreated explosively by almost 300 m. Yi Xian glanced at Wu Xian beside him. This guy was a little fierce. This fellow was definitely an expert at the pinnacle of the Tao-proving realm. Wu Xian was about to attack again, but at this time Yi Xian suddenly said, "Let's go." After he finished speaking, he turned around and transformed into a sword light, disappearing into the distance. Wu Xian stared blankly for a moment, then hurriedly followed. Yi Xian's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he left the forbidden area of the underworld. When he appeared in Fengdu City, 3 extremely powerful auras suddenly enveloped him. Yi Xian's expression darkened. 3 self-release realm experts. At this time, Wu Xian suddenly appeared beside Yi Xian. He looked at Yi Xian and smiled. "Senior." Yi Xian nodded slightly. At this time, 4 people appeared in front of them, 2 old men and 2 middle-aged men. Wu Xian said solemnly, "The 4 revelations, the 4 old farts in charge of guarding the Yellow Spring River." Yi Xian looked at Wu Xian. "Can you defeat the 4 of them?" Wu Xian blinked. "Fight 4?" Yi Xian nodded, "Of course." Wu Xian hesitated for a moment and then said, "I can fight 2 but 4? This?" Yi Xian nodded, "I understand." Wu Xian hurriedly said, "The 4 of them shouldn't be a match for a single sword strike from Senior, right?" Yi Xian smiled proudly. "How many people in this world can take a sword strike from me?" Wu Xian felt deep veneration. "Who in this world can take a sword strike from me? How many years has it been since I've heard such bold words?" At this moment Emu Chun, who was the leader of the 4 revelations, suddenly said, "Who exactly are you?" In their perception Yi Xian was at the self-release realm, but they were slightly doubtful. A self-release realm expert dared to be so arrogant? It didn't make sense. Yi Xian glanced at Emu Chun. "Are you worthy of my sword? Call the Lord of the Nether Realm out." Hearing this, Wu Xian, who was next to Yi Xian, was stunned, and then he hurriedly looked at Emu Chun. "Emu Chun, hurry up and call your Lord of the Nether Realm out. Hurry up." At this moment Wu Xian's back was ramrod straight. His thigh is thick. The feeling of hugging a thigh is really not bad. Opposite Yi Xian, Emu Chun stared fixedly at Yi Xian. "Someone like you is worthy of seeing my Lord of the Nether Realm?" Yi Xian suddenly opened his palm, and the sword spirit appeared in his hand. When they saw this sword, Emu Chun and the others' expressions changed. They weren't sure if Yi Xian was strong, but this sword really wasn't simple. This was clearly a sword of the Tao-breaking realm. Could it be that this fellow in front of them was a Tao-breaking expert? At this thought Emu Chun and the others couldn't help but turn pale. Emu Chun looked at Yi Xian and then he hesitated. "Your Excellency? Who exactly are you?" Yi Xian didn't answer and he just slowly closed his eyes. "Jiming, take advantage of the chaos and leave with the Yellow Spring's holy water." Yi Jiming said solemnly, "What about you?" Yi Xian said, "I have a way to escape." Yi Jiming still wanted to say something, but Yi Xian suddenly said softly, "Please." Yi Jiming said, "All right." Yi Xian looked at Emu Chun and smiled. "What, am I not worthy of seeing your Lord of the Nether Realm?" Emu Chun said solemnly, "Your Excellency is a Tao breaker?" A Tao breaker. An expert of this level wasn't just terrifying, it was extremely terrifying. It could be said that a Tao-confirming expert was practically powerless before a Tao-breaking expert. One was a Tao-confirming expert, the other a Tao-breaking expert. At this moment, that was the question in the hearts of everyone here, and it was the same question in Heng Tianwu's heart as well. That attack from before had instantly dispersed all his strength, and he didn't even have the chance to defend himself. An instant kill with a single attack. Even he hadn't imagined that he would be killed in an instant. After all, he'd used all his strength. Suddenly, a sword stabbed into the top of his head. The soul suppression sword. In the blink of an eye, the soul-suppressing sword had completely absorbed the remnant soul. In the sky, Moon Yanyan opened her palm, and Heng Tianwu's golden whip fell into her grasp. She sized it up before she tapped it with her finger, and then the golden whip descended in front of Yi Xian. Yi Xian didn't take the golden whip, and he gazed at Moon Yanyan instead. At this moment, Moon Yanyan's countenance was slightly pale and she was coughing. Moon Yanyan grinned when she noticed Yi Xian's gaze. "I'm fine." As she spoke, she turned around to glance at the Lord of the Nether Dimension, and then she smiled, I'm injured now. Moreover, it's quite severe. Do you intend to lend a hand? That's a good opportunity. The Lord of the Nether Dimension gazed at Moon Yin in silence. Moon Yin roared with laughter. Since you're not going to lend a hand, then we'll be leaving. As soon as she finished speaking, she gazed at Yi Xian. Let's go. Yi Xian nodded, and then he picked up the golden whip and hurriedly followed by Moon Yin's side. As if he'd thought of something, he suddenly gazed at Wu Xen. Why aren't you leaving? Do you want to stay and eat? Wu Xen shuddered when he heard this, and he hurriedly followed them. At this moment, no one in the Nether Dimension dared to stop them. Right at this moment, Moon Yin suddenly stopped, and then she turned around to look at the Lord of the Nether Dimension and smiled. Help me send a message to the doubting. Tell him to either send more or stronger forces next time. As soon as she finished speaking, she led Yi Xian and Wu Xan along as she vanished on the spot. The Lord of the Nether Dimension remained silent. Meanwhile, a voice suddenly resounded from his side. I never expected that such an expert actually existed in the Yang Dimension. The person who spoke was Tao Lord Qingming. At this moment he felt very fortunate that he hadn't attacked just now, otherwise he would be the one dead. Actually, he was very shocked because a divine general had been instantly killed just like that. It was an instant kill. He could accept it if he'd won, but it was an instant kill and it was completely different. Moreover, this divine general had experienced numerous battles, and both his combat awareness and strength were top-notch. However, he'd still been instantly killed. A single strike. After a long moment of silence, Qingming suddenly said, I'm going to the doubting. This was given to him by the mysterious powerhouse in the land of origin, who said that he could do him a favor. When he was in the underworld, he wanted to use this token. However, he didn't choose to use it in the end because at that time, even if he called a Tao validation powerhouse, it would be useless. According to his guess, that mysterious powerhouse should be a Tao validation powerhouse. Now he needed to use all the power he could to fight against doubting. At this moment, Senior Sister Lu suddenly said, Let's go to the Sword Sect ruins. Yi Xian nodded. He put away the ice coffin and disappeared from the hall with Senior Sister Lu. In the vast starry sky, Yi Xian and Senior Sister Lu flew on their swords. Yi Xian suddenly said, Senior Sister Lu, can you contact the founder of the Sword Sect? Senior Sister Lu shook her head. I can't. Yi Xian was silent. Senior Sister Lu smiled. You don't have the confidence to face it yourself? Yi Xian said softly, The world is difficult. I don't want to struggle anymore. Senior Sister Lu, Yi Xian suddenly smiled. Senior Sister Lu, other forces can summon their founder. Why can't the Sword Sect do the same? Senior Sister Lu smiled. They already did it once. Yi Xian was silent. He knew it was the woman with the spear. Senior Sister Lu suddenly said, Can you reach the Tao validation realm? Yi Xian shook his head. He still couldn't reach the Tao validation realm. He could only rely on the God Seal to reach the Tao validation realm. And this borrowed power was still inferior to the power he cultivated. But he also knew that this matter couldn't be rushed. Without thinking too much, Yi Xian and Senior Sister Lu sped up. In the fifth dimension. In the courtyard, Yi Jiming, who was reading a book, suddenly stopped. She turned her head and saw a man standing not far away. Yi Jiming said calmly, Bengsu, you are quite patient. You only came out now. The man named Bengsu walked to Yi Jiming's side and said in a deep voice, The Patriarch has ordered us to bring you back. Yi Jiming said softly, Bengsu, you have followed me for so long. You should have some understanding of young Master Yi, right? Bengsu said in a deep voice, That young Master Yi is a genius, rare in the world. Yi Jiming looked at Bengsu. Go back and tell him that I won't go back. Bengsu hesitated for a moment and said, The Patriarch has said, dead or alive. Dead or alive. Yi Jiming sneered. Dead or alive. It seems that the Tao scriptures are always more important to him than the people around him. Speaking of this, she suddenly thought of Yi Xian. She thought of the scene when Yi Xian gave her 2 Tao scriptures in the netherworld. Her biological father couldn't be compared to a man she had only known for a few months. 2 Tao scriptures. If they were in Yuan, her father would have been willing to sacrifice the entire clan. What about Yi Xian?